So welcome back. In this video, we're going to be looking at how to log into the Webflow Editor. Once we're logged in, I'm going to show you a few of the panels that are universal across all of our Webflow sites, and then how to find help and support, and ultimately log back out once you're done making changes. So let's get into it. When you visit your website, to access the Webflow Editor, you will type /edit and press enter. With that, you will see the Webflow login board here. You should have received an invitation via email for creating your Webflow account. If you haven't done that, please check your inbox and accept invitation, and you'll be prompted to set your password and therefore log in. But if you already have your username and password created and you're re-accessing that, this is where you would do it. And again, you do /edit. So we're going to type in our email here, marketing@redchartdigital, and our password, and click login. Okay, so here, once we log in, you see the screen blink white, and you see across the bottom you have your tab bar with your Webflow icon on the left, pages, orders, e-commerce, collections, forms, settings, help and support, as well as logout. Sprightly is actually a CBD company, as you see here on the screen, but they are an e-commerce company as well. Primarily, the most of their business they do is through e-commerce. So that's why we see orders in e-commerce. If your site does not have e-commerce, do not be alarmed that they're not there. They only appear on ones that have an e-commerce plan. The main thing you need to pay attention to here, and what is universal, would be your pages. So navigating throughout the site, obviously you can scroll through, you can highlight and click options, and we're going to go over all that in future videos, but right now we're just trying to understand what's available to us inside the editor. You can simply click the Pages panel and go to various pages you need to be on. If you need to change certain settings on a page, you're able to click settings and view them. So SEO settings or password protection, etc. Again, things we'll talk about in future videos. But your tab bar stays across here. So let's go to orders. Again, orders is where we see, pretty self-explanatory, it's where you see orders. And if you don't have an e-commerce site, you will not be seeing that. E-commerce is where your products are listed, as well as your setup guide if that's not been completed, your categories, products, etc. Collections is where the majority of items that are scalable, which we talked about in our first video, and we'll talk about more in depth in the future, is where they are housed. So we'll click here to blog post. You're able to view all posts that have been published, ones that you may have in draft, their dates, etc., and created. One thing you'll notice when viewing a collection item, so blog post being a collection, you'll see here that blog post is now a tab inside of our menu. Now, if we click back over here to orders or back over here to e-commerce or even pages, blog post remains because that Webflow understands and believes that this is relevant content for you to go back and edit and behave with. Now, to remove that, if you have several collections, you know that tab bar is going to get crowded. To remove those, you simply hover over the X and click, and it will remove them. But to add them back, you would simply go back to collections, click blog post, and there they are. Lastly, we have forms, where we have our forms field. So this is where the form entries from your various forms you have on your site will live and appear. Each individual form is its own section. So right now, Sprightly only has newsletter sign up. And if they had additional ones, so general contact or wholesale or become an affiliate, etc., forms they have planned for the future, they would show up as different tables, allowing individual exports for their entry data. So you can keep that separated and very neat. The last three tabs we have here are pretty universal icons with settings, which is your basic account settings and your e-commerce settings. You have this life raft, which is very fitting for their help and support section, where you can have a ton of resources available to you, from how to make simple changes to more complex changes, what you're able to do, what you're not able to do, and ultimately they will lead you into the forums where you can ask specific questions if needed. But if you're one of our clients, obviously we're here to help you, so please contact us first before you contact the Webflow community. Lastly, you have your logout icon. We won't click that just yet. I want to show you this tool on the right before we do that. So I'm going to click View Site here, and let's say we're going to change this About Us to About Sprightly. We would simply click in and type in About Sprightly. Now we're going to go over more in depth about how to edit text and images and actually use the editor in future videos, but I want to make this simple change right now to show you this. When we click out of that, you'll see here on the bottom right, this now says one saved and one unpublished change. So you're able to look here about Sprightly. So say you're working through 15 or 20 edits, and it's taking you a couple hours, and you have to leave to go to a meeting, or have to leave to go to lunch, or take a phone call, or help someone else, and you come back to your site and you sit down and you're, oh wait, where was I at? This unpublished changes menu is very helpful and resourceful to you because it will show you all the steps you've taken since you've been logged in, your logged in session. So we're going to change this back to About Us as it was before because we don't want to make any changes. But you see it still saves as an unpublished change because we did change things that did happen. Now, ultimately, we want to go ahead and publish every time, even if we have undone changes we want to publish to ensure that it is how it was when we left it, or it is how we need it to be when we leave it. So we'll hit publish. It'll show you what is being changed. So it changes to be published. We've edited text back to About Us. Now, if we left it About Sprightly, it would say About Sprightly. So you've got it's kind of a foolproof way of knowing exactly what you're changing when you hit publish. We're going to publish one change. We're going to take a second, grab yourself a cup of coffee if you'd like. Okay, and once it's done publishing, you will see the blue button has now changed to green and says published. So lastly, we'll log out here. Yes, log me out. Once you're logged out, it will load the page back for you. And the last thing to show you is once you've accessed the editor via the via the site, you're able to now see a tab on the right-hand side, which with an arrow. When you hover, it turns into a pencil. When you open that up, it gives you your login, so you can access the editor very easily without having to type in /edit. So in this video, to recap, we looked at how to log in to a Webflow site via the editor. We looked at what the tabs in the tab bar allow us to do and allow us to maneuver. We were able to demonstrate how collection items behave once selected and adding them to the toolbar. We accessed where to find help and support articles and resources, as well as tracking our changes, publishing our changes, and ultimately logging out. In the next video, we'll look a little bit more in depth on actually editing content using these tools. But for now, thank you.